Billie Eilish is in a class of her own. Unless you've been living under a rock, then you're probably familiar with the 17-year-old prodigy. And she is truly one of a kind. Her emo gaze and subtle dark vibes make her seem like she came straight out of a horror movie. And we absolutely love it. But there's a sad story behind her music that'll make you appreciate what she's gone through in her young life. So make sure you watch this video until the end to see why this young music artist is so controversial. The 17-year-old singer is on the brink of stardom, but she's managed to stay pretty level-headed so far. Billie Eilish is the poster child of a new style of music that's resonating with millions, and she's not afraid to be herself, even when that raises a few eyebrows. Her playful songs are redefining pop music one hit at a time. Just ask any of her over 13 million Instagram followers who keep tabs on her every move. But her songs can often be a bit unnerving. They have a serious dark undertone to them at times, and that's starting to get her in trouble. Some people are even questioning if Billie's music is perhaps too grim for this generation. But her dark and often violent lyrics seem to resonate with her die-hard fans. Her 2016 debut single, Ocean Eyes, went viral seemingly overnight. It accumulated over 14 million streams so far, and the harmonious ballad was the first of many. She signed on with major label Interscope Records, and things only got better from there. Billie is a musical prodigy, and she uses her gift to play around with genres and express her innermost private thoughts. The LA singer boasts over 1 billion streams on Spotify, which is pretty cool for a 17-year-old, right? She even has a song on the 13 Reasons Why soundtrack. Needless to say, Billie has quite a bright future ahead of her, and the fact that she's so young makes her achievements even more breathtaking. But not everyone is on board the Billie Eilish train, particularly because of the nature of her music. Some people are even starting to call Billie the Queen of Misery. No one can deny that Billie is a natural-born artist. At 17 years old, she's redefining the rules of the music industry. But there are a couple of experts and fans who believe she's the new face of misery music, which is pretty dangerous when you consider her fan base is so young and impressionable. Take the song Lovely, for example. It's one of Billie's most popular 2018 music videos, but in the YouTube comment section, fans are leaving some concerning comments. Some are praising her for being so in tune with her own struggles, feelings of sadness, and complex emotions. Some are loving the fact that Billie represents what teenagers are truly feeling, that not everyone out there can be as happy and bubbly as JoJo Siwa, for example, who's about the same age as Billie. Other commenters express that Billie's songs help them cope with their own struggles. In a way, it looks like Billie's fans are finding solace and understanding in her voice, even if some people feel like her gloomy melodies are a bit depressing. But this genre of misery music isn't exactly new. Artists have always found a way to convey strong emotions. In fact, it helps a lot of listeners to relate to and cope with whatever they're feeling at the time. Besides, it's not like Billie's music is making anyone depressed, right? After all, isn't everyone dealing with their own emotional ups and downs? Her music acts like a coping mechanism, and you certainly can't blame Billie for everyone else's issues. So naturally, fans are quick to defend their queen, claiming no one has the right to explain how teenagers feel unless they're teens themselves. And Billie's lyrics resonate with her fans because she understands this generation. But many people are a bit confused by her whole vibe. Perhaps it's got a lot to do with Billie's storytelling style. In a world where Nicki Minaj and Ariana Grande reigned supreme, people were aching for a new sound to hit the radio, and Billie was exactly what everyone was asking for. Her songs are pretty haunting, but her lyrics are simply terrifying. Her hit song, Bellyache, is about murdering her friends. In it, she sings about being a psychopath who's just iced some of her besties. Then there's the dark, violent lyric from her song, Bury a Friend. According to Billie, the lyrics are sung from the perspective of a monster that's living under her bed. No wonder people are starting to question why teenagers are identifying so much with her. And with lines like, I wanna end me, we get why some parents are clutching their pearls with disbelief. Her tracks often come off as sadistic and intimidating. She also sings about burning someone's car in Watch. She even talks about stealing your soul and hiding you in her treasure chest in Hostage. So clearly, Billie isn't your typical girly girl pop star. But since most artists sing about things that come from within, you have to ask yourself, where's all this anger and pain coming from? Is there something in Billie's past that's inspiring her to write these insane songs? Well, some people seem to think Billie is going through some sort of depression. Billie Billie is seemingly on an emo roller coaster ride, which some would claim is typical for most teens. She's not afraid to post her dark thoughts either, like the time she tweeted, "I'm obsessed with pain." But is her dark vibe the result of some serious mental health problems? Her song Bury a Friend pays tribute to personal demons, and it certainly freaked out a lot of people. Then again, it's no secret that those living in the limelight suffer from emotional and mental issues. With tragic Hollywood endings like Chester Bennington and Mac Miller, it's obvious the entertainment industry can wreak havoc on people's mental health. So we totally appreciate that she's expressing her vulnerability through music. But some people are wondering if she's romanticizing death in a way. Whatever she's going through, it's clearly fueling her creativity to come up with such intense lyrics. And to ease people's minds, she claims her songs are nothing but made-up stories. Either way, we need to remember that the performers we follow on Instagram and sing along to on our way to class are only human. Billie has struggled with her mental health in the past, and she's been very candid about how it's taken a toll on her. To add insult to injury, she was diagnosed with something very serious when she was 12. When celebrities are diagnosed with a serious health condition, they don't like advertising it to the world, and we totally get that. No one wants to feel vulnerable in the eyes of the public, and Billie can definitely relate. She never wanted to mention on the internet that she was diagnosed with Tourette syndrome at the age of 12, but when compilation videos of her tics surfaced online, she realized she had to share her story. It was hard for her at first. Tourette syndrome is a neurological disorder that causes people to have involuntary verbal and physical tics. But in Billie's case, she only exhibits signs of physical tics. Even from a very young age, she had to teach herself a few techniques to reduce and suppress her tics because she didn't want people to associate her with her condition. But since it's been with her for a long time, it's become part of who she is today. And as far as being offended by the compilation videos, Billie actually thinks they're kind of funny. And people aren't wigging out because of a few random tics. It's her dark lyrics that has everyone questioning if she's channeling her inner Eminem in a way. Billie seems to hide in a fantasy world where she gets to live out different scenarios, experiences, and dreams, no matter how pleasant they may or may not be. This has undoubtedly helped her write some powerful songs in her young life. But if you're terrified of her, mission accomplished. Billie claims she actually thrives on people being afraid of her. Yeah, this girl's definitely not afraid of a little controversy, right? Her whole confrontational vibe reminds us of the time when Eminem first crashed into the music industry. Parents freaked out and wanted his music banned. While his lyrics were very different from Billie's, they were just as powerful and chilling. Eminem fans might remember how some of his songs eerily described him ending the life of his ex-wife, Kim Scott. There was one song where he talked about sticking her in the trunk of a car and finishing her. Eminem was really good at telling gruesome and chilling stories in his songs. But as far as we know, he's never taken anyone's life, right? But even if his lyrics were nothing but make-believe, they did come from a place of rage, past experiences, and pain. So it's possible that Billie is simply coming up with dark lyrics in order to cope with her own personal struggles. Meanwhile, some major artists are starting to recognize Billie's power. One of them is even comparing her to none other than Kurt Cobain, claiming that thanks to her, rock and roll is not close to dead with her around. Like it or not, Billie is the voice of today's generation, and Dave Grohl has given her his stamp of approval. The Foo Fighters lead singer had a discussion with Live Nation CEO Michael Rapino at Polestar Live's conference. In it, he told Rapino that his daughters are totally obsessed with Billie Eilish. He added that she's doing to rock and roll what Nirvana did in 1991. And he's definitely not kidding either. Music is a part of Billie's body and soul. It's like the very air she breathes. Listen carefully to her lyrics, and you'll realize she almost seems like she's lived a million different lives. So as she continues to drop more singles, she will likely continue to open up some more and leave us even more speechless. Her passion for music is what inspires her to create great work. But just because she has an active imagination doesn't mean it's easy to come up with a hit. In order to create music, she has to dig into a pretty dark place. You can always listen to the naysayers who claim her lyrics are creepy, but you'll be missing out on some great hits. Billie's songs certainly deserve a chance because writing music takes a lot of work. In order to come up with such messed up imagery and haunting lyrics, Billie writes from the perspective of other people. She likes getting into other people's skin, even if we're talking about a serial killer. And it's in this fantasy world where she plays out different roles and comes up with a story. Billie's songs take you to a faraway land where anything can happen. Yes, even murder. But she's obviously not pulling this material from experience. In fact, the single Ocean Eyes was all about being lovesick, but she's actually never been in love. Her brother, Phineas O'Connell, has though. It's why she had him write the lyrics. But the song still came from her imagination. She's undoubtedly had a couple of issues writing music because it's the same as writing a story. And like most writers, Billie has dealt with writer's block. And yet, she feels like she can literally write about anything because you don't have to go through something to write about it. This philosophy has allowed her to write from the point of view of a serial killer in the song Hostage. In effect, Billie's writing is sort of like a detoxing experience. She gets to lose herself from the world, and that includes a much-needed break from social media. It's hard to imagine that anything could scare this talented musician, but there's one thing that freaks her out, and no, it's not spiders. It's actually social media. And as far as she's concerned, it's 100% evil. It terrifies her to see the power it has over teenagers like her. It's not easy transitioning from a teen to an adult, especially when everything gets magnified and dissected on social media. It's why most kids are feeling mentally drained. Living in the digital age makes things a lot worse. There are tons of cons to social media. One of them is cyberbullying, which is at an all-time high. But despite being conscious about the many problems that come from having a platform, Billie doesn't entirely hate social media. She knows it's the only way for her to truly connect with her fans, who she considers more like family. But the teenager understands that social media can also ruin friendships, relationships, and individuals. It can damage the way you feel about yourself on the inside and on the outside. It's why she thinks social media has so much power over people. Despite that, she's grateful it exists because she wouldn't be able to have such an open connection with her fans without it. But perhaps people are starting to question if Billie's influence is working against troubled teens who are struggling with their own personal demons. But is Billie Eilish really the reason why Generation Z seems to be so depressed? Now, some people seem to think she's the queen of misery because of her emotional songs. Some might say that some of her lyrics are gloomier than others. We get that songs about sadness and locking people up in treasure chests can push teens off the edge. But despite the depressing undertones, Billie's music isn't really the reason why teens are suffering from anxiety and depression. Billie isn't here to bring anyone down, but rather lift the veil and show the world that she's a normal human being too. She's also fighting with demons from the past and her own mental struggles. And if there's one thing this super talented star seems to be obsessed with, it's telling stories. She's just an artist who happens to be absolutely rocking the game. If anything, her music is more of an emotional outlet that lets teens reflect on their grim views of the future. And fans are finding comfort in her relatable songs, especially when they feel lost and defeated. It might explain why they listen to Billie with such devotion. She's trying to define her own style while doing her best to stand out in a sea of musical talent. Billie only wants to leave a good impression on her fans and hopefully change somebody's life. And we've got to say, mission accomplished, Billie.
What? Billie Eilish is the youngest breakout musical star since Lorde, with the most mature voice and mentality about her work. She doesn't care what you think about it, and it doesn't bother her to speak her mind. So where does this confidence come from? And how did she become the fearless hit singer that she is today? Within only a few short years, Billie went from unknown to having millions upon millions of fans. That only held up because the girl is crazy talented. There's one side of Billie pre-fame that made her into the woman that you see today. Stay tuned as we take you through her life before she was famous and how she rose to the top of the crop. Before we take a look at the young music icon, make sure that you're subscribed to The Taco and hit the bell and be the first one to be notified. If you're a fan of our awesome content, check out the community section below and chat about all your favorite celebs, gossip, and much more. Thanks for tuning in here at The Taco. Now let's see the true Billie Eilish story and her rise to fame. Billie grew up like any normal kid, without knowing that one day people would be screaming her name. She grew up with idols and celebrities she looked up to, and now that she's in their place, she admits that it's quite weird. Turning 17 on December 18th of 2018, she has the whole world watching the exploration of her youth. We're certain you've already heard the story, but after the hit single Ocean Eyes was posted online for her dance teacher to hear, it took off by a totally unexpected fluke. Phineas, Billie's older brother, called her up to tell her that they had made it to 1,000 plays, and that they had made it. But that number kept rising and rising. From that date, November 18th, 2016, Billie's world has changed. She's been rocking and rolling Hollywood ever since, releasing multiple songs with her brother and collaborating with some of the best. She's even got her own tour and was named Apple Music's Up Next artist in September of 2017, after the release of her first EP called Don't Smile at Me. So how did this homeschool girl go from dance classes to being an onstage with millions of fans in only like a couple short years? What was her life like prior to the fateful posting of Ocean Eyes? In a blossoming artistic household, Billie grew up with her loving parents and her older brother Phineas. She was named Billie Eilish Pirate Baird O'Connell at birth, and we know exactly what you're thinking. You want a middle name like Pirate too. Billie's parents were both successful artists. Her family's roots were English, Irish, Scottish, and Belgian, but she was born in the heart of the entertainment world, Los Angeles. Her mother, Maggie Baird, is an actress, musician, and songwriter who you may recognize from various video games and small stints on television shows. Her father, Patrick O'Connell, is also an actor who acted alongside both his wife and his son in the successful 2013 indie drama Life Inside Out. The film was a whole family affair, except for Billie, that is. But that didn't bother her one bit. She was focused on becoming a world-renowned dancer. Billie's first aspirations were centered around dance. She would be at the studio practicing for over 11 hours a week. The dance studio was called Revolution Dance Center, or RDC for short. Located in Montrose, California, which was Billie's hometown of Los Angeles, the city of angels that would one day swoop her into its arms. Billie mainly focused on contemporary dance, but practiced many other kinds, including aerial skills and one such performance with fellow dancer Simone Midby to Pink's song, Why Did I Ever Like You? It became a hit on YouTube after Billie's rise to fame, but her dreams of making a name as a dancer didn't last. Billie was just about to begin competing with her dance company when something tragic happened. She was severely injured and could no longer pursue dancing at the degree she wanted. Prior to her first competition, she suffered a series of injuries which included a strained groin, growth plate, and ankle. It took her out of the competition only days before she was supposed to go on stage. As heartbreaking as this sounds, Billie still continued to create what she felt was necessary, which included writing songs and making covers with her brother. In response to her dance injuries, Billie told V Magazine, "My body is not a friend of dance," which is unfortunate, but it gave me a lot of time to do other things, which has been both good and terrible. Growing up, Billie with her brother too joined the Los Angeles Children's Choir at around 8 years old, which taught her how to use her voice properly without hurting it. Billie wrote her first lyrics at the young age of 11 and continued writing since then. A true budding artist continuously practiced her skills. Both Phineas and Billie were homeschooled, and it didn't stop Billie from being open and social, despite her famously not liking it when people smile at her. She developed her own sense of style and had close friends. It also helped develop a strong bond between her and her brother, which would later play into the success as you already know. Despite her craving to be a dancer, Billie did attempt acting. However, after a bad audition, she decided that acting wasn't for her and she didn't want it anymore. This was the end of Billie's short-lived acting saga, but far from the end of her musical endeavors. Her mother taught songwriting classes and had Billie and Phineas attend them, which they gladly participated in. This became a big part of the siblings' life. They were to dive deep into books and shows and find good hooks, names and phrases for all of their music. Billie and Phineas wrote handfuls of songs, which would later come in handy. Billie later told Harper's Bazaar that the first real song that she wrote was actually about zombies, inspired by her favorite TV show at the time, The Walking Dead. Do you know which song it is? It's called Fingers Crossed, and you can listen to it on SoundCloud and YouTube. Billie also told Teen Vogue that her father would make mixtapes filled with songs from the Beatles to Avril Lavigne, and so they learned each type of music from these eclectic mixtapes. Obviously, at a young age, Billie was fully supported in her endeavors by her family, a luxury not all artists are afforded. Billie also had a thing for horror, and quite frankly still does. Perhaps that's why her first real song was about zombies. Billie's favorite horror film is called The Babadook, an indie horror film from Australia that will scare your socks off and keep you up for a week. So it makes sense that her favorite TV shows are American Horror Story and, as previously mentioned, The Walking Dead. Billie's love for horror seems to come through in her eerie and dark lyrics. In her music video for her major hit, Bellyache, she plays a psychopath that she's just murdered all of her friends. And in the song Watch, she sings about burning someone's car. Harper's Bazaar has put it eloquently by saying that she doesn't play the innocent teen pop star that we've seen so much in the past, like Britney Spears or Miley Cyrus did. She's honest about who she is. And as Bazaar writes, the message is clear. Eilish is not your cookie-cutter pop star. And it seems that even before she was famous, she was the exact same way. Confident, ballsy, baggy pants style, and of course, loving horror. Meanwhile, Phineas has grown into a fledgling West Coast artist. Not only was he prolifically writing music on his own time, but he was also landing roles on such hit series as Glee, playing Alistair in 2015, and his first acting gig, however, was in 2011, opposite megastar Cameron Diaz in Bad Teacher, playing the role of Spencer. Not a bad way to start off your acting career in Hollywood. When Billie injured herself, her and her brother had already been posting covers on YouTube. Often Phineas would be on the piano and Billie would sing. Phineas also got the bug to begin making his own music from scratch, and began playing around with production software, which is a major point to note in Billie's rise to fame. Phineas is the lead singer and songwriter for the band The Slightlies in LA, and when a song wasn't working with his band, he'd try it out on Billie, which is exactly what happened with the hit Ocean Eyes that changed her life. Soon as she sang it, he knew it was going to work, and they decided to record it. With Phineas on his production software, thank goodness he took that up. Without her brother's innate skills at production, Ocean Eyes would never be a hit today. In November of 2018, Vanity Fair interviewed Billie for the second time, exactly 1 year apart, and posted the videos beside one another to show the growth of the star in 1 year. The statistics themselves are astonishing, but her joy is what is endearing. Billie has said, and we quote, "I hate smiling. It makes me feel weak and powerless and small. I always have been like that. I don't smile in pictures." She continues by saying, "But you know how when you're walking down the street and somebody smiles at you, you're forced to smile back? That's the polite response. It's like you have no control over it." Billie has always claimed that she's had, as they call it, a resting bitch face. But that doesn't mean that she doesn't like or that she isn't sad. It just is how she is because, as she says, she doesn't want to smile. This has nothing to do with her childhood. Billie grew up in a happy, creative family, which is the exact reasons that she's going to last in this industry. Billie's already aware of the influence she has on the outside world, and especially young people looking up to her. In true Billie fashion, she took to Twitter in September 2017 to send a message about drugs in her own way. The tweet read, "Damn, my old friends are getting fugly as hell. Drugs make you fugly." Sending the message to her young fans not to do drugs. She may be brash and outspoken, but she is grounded and backed up by all her pre-fame experiences to pave a safe path for herself. So Billie and Phineas decided to send Ocean Eyes to Billie's choreographer in hopes she could incorporate it into a dance. Instead, the song, as I mentioned, blew up. Billie had posted it as a downloadable link so her teacher could get it offline. As for the rest, well, you know what happened. Though Billie's rise to fame was steady and appears relatively easily, she still had her struggles and even wonders if she misses pre-fame life. In the Vanity Fair interview, Billie hears herself say that she sometimes gets recognized. Now, in 2018,
every time I go anywhere. Hands down.
When she saw old footage of herself and she said,
"I'm kind of jealous of Billie a year ago.
Maybe it isn't all it's cracked up to be." Either way, Billie is going to use her fame for the best. And one of the ways she's doing this is being open about her struggles with mental health and Tourette syndrome. Billie has been outspoken about her struggles with depression and anxiety. Her and Khalid, who also has been open about these issues, decided to explore a mental health through a haunting song, Lovely. It was on Season 2 soundtrack for 13 Reasons Why, and did well on Billboard Hot 100. The two sing about being trapped in their own minds and seeking inner peace. Billie has also become the face for Tourette syndrome, a disorder that is vastly understood. But being Billie, she opened up to the world about suffering and living with this disorder, which is described as a tic disorder, with repeated, sudden, rapid, non-rhythmic muscle movements, including sounds or vocalizations. Billie only has it manifest in physical ways and says that it's not super noticeable to others. Unless you're paying attention, Billie held off sharing about her disorder because she didn't want fans to only see Tourette's syndrome and not see her. Still, we don't think that Billie is sold on the fame. She says to Tidal, "I hate it, but it's great." However, even with those thoughts, she's quite wise about the pressures of the industry. When asked about that, she says, "I don't know if it's pressure. I think I'm learning more and more. It's obvious you can't please everyone. Like, never in a million years will you be able to make everyone happy." Billie opens up about her struggles and her finding adjusting to new life. Since her success, she says she has lost a lot of people. She says that people don't understand what she's doing is her job. She explains, "When I hang out with people I haven't seen in a while, I say the things that are going on in my life and people think I'm bragging. I'm not bragging, I'm just telling you about my life." She explains to Tidal that it's still hard work, But in other great news, she got to meet one of her idols, Tyler the Creator. She first started listening to his work when she heard Goblin, and it blew her mind how unique it was. Billie is also an advocate for family and says that they're the most important thing. She may just be jet-setting around the globe, but she still keeps her family close. At the time of the interview, her mother was on tour with her and her dad and brother were going to join for the US portion, and we love that. The funny thing about all this is that she doesn't feel pressure, and she doesn't get nervous. Seems like she's doing the job right. She said, "I either get really excited or I just don't want to do something. It's great because it's validating. I'm trying to learn to live up to it, I guess." Now Billie has soared to worldwide fame, but she keeps her strong values with her.
Vegan.
She always writes with her brother and he always produces her music. She finds inspiration everywhere, and her own experiences don't limit her music. She may be young, but she's wiser than a lot of working artists who believe that they must suffer for work. And perhaps that's true for them. But Billie has seemingly found a more simple way. Describing her music, she says, "When I write, I try to become different characters. You can write a song about being in love with someone, but you don't have to be in love with anyone. Becoming a character can really be fun. To put yourself in a place you had never have really been." Billie is open and honest, and that's why we love her. She's got millions of followers, signed with her top-tier record company, views pop as boring at times, and sees a future of much more to come. She's a girl living outside the box, and she refuses to go back into it. Maybe that's why this teen is so inspiring to us all, to be ourselves, and intimidating us while we're at it with her crazy cool swag. She's on Forbes' 2019 30 Under 30 list for music, has chart-topping songs, and still stays grounded. But she's still the teenager deep down, which makes her relatable as ever. Even through her serious vibes and haunting music, Billie cried over missing out on moshing and festivals because of her tour dates, which makes us remember she really is a teen who has more success than most artists so young. The articles may be endless and the songs may be replayable forever, but the girl is human, and like us all, as she tweeted, "Literally nothing matters. We're all gonna die." We're going to take that as a positive to follow in Billie's footsteps and follow your dreams, because why not? Billie gets it and wants to write all her own music with her brother, and seeing as family is first for this young lady, we're certain that she couldn't be happier. Billie has proved herself a wealth of times in just a short time. She's reached her height of success. But she's also not stopping anytime soon. Billie is motivated to continue making music for her fans. She's a girl who's got it all, and we can't wait to see what the future will bring for Billie Eilish. What shocked you the most about the young talented star before she was famous? Do you think she's too young to handle it? Or will she navigate the industry with ease and class? Sound off in the comment section below. Subscribe to the Taco and make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Over and out, Eilish fans.
Hey guys, it's Safia here, and you're watching The Taco. Billie Eilish, the LA singer-songwriter, has hit the internet by storm yet again. Yep, the world loves this cool, quirky star, and she's just 17 years old. Her new single, called Wish You Were Gay, has everyone talking. Yep, there aren't many lyrics in there that have caused fans to ask questions. So what's the real reason behind some of the lyrics? And what has everyone talking? Stay tuned as we share all of the details. Now first, let's take a little look at the singer's career so far. Yep, she started her music career early. She was born into a family of actors and musicians, so has actually been singing pretty much all of her life. Yep, she wrote her first song when she was just 4 years old. Talking about it, she wrote pretty cool subject matter for someone of their age. "I began really serious songwriting when I was 11. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Well, it was revealed that her initial intentions were to become either an actress or a dancer. She revealed, "I was in plays when I was little. My parents and brother are actors. Living in Los Angeles means there are always auditions for something or other. One day I came home from an audition where some pretty lame stuff had happened, and I just said I was never going to act again. That's when I decided to concentrate on dancing." Yep, and it was actually through dancing that Billie came to realise that it was actually singing she wanted to pursue a career in. Clearly, record companies knew a good thing when they saw it. Interscope won the battle to sign Billie, and it definitely paid off. Yep, they were immediately rewarded with the worldwide chart success of her 2017 debut EP, Don't Smile at Me. Her song, Bury a Friend, was also a big success. The star revealed, "The song is written from the perspective of the monster under my bed. If If you put yourself in that mindset, what is this creature doing or feeling? I also confess that I'm this monster because there are times when I'm my own worst enemy. I might also be the monster under your bed. Now, if you're wondering where all of this creativity happened, well, Billie revealed that much of it was actually done in her brother's bedroom. Yep, she revealed, "We tried renting a studio, but it didn't really work. It was far better at home." Some songs start with the lyrics, others start with the melody or beat. It's different each time. Working at home means we can do it at whatever time, day or night, whenever ideas and inspiration might come. It might seem strange to not work in a professional studio, but she said that her brother's bedroom is just as good in many ways, as it seems like the best place for us to make what we hope are great songs. Now, Billie also revealed that issues with sleep have affected her life and also had an impact in her music. She explained, "I've always had really bad night terrors. I've had sleep paralysis 5 times. All my dreams are lucid, so I control them. Sometimes I'll have dreams where the thing that was in my dream will happen the next day." Yep, she also revealed she was tormented by reoccurring dreams a year and a half ago, saying, "It affected me in my life. It affected the way I viewed things and how I was talking to people and how I was thinking. I was just different. It was because of my dreams. It was changing me as a person." Now, talking about her latest hit, "Wish You Were Gay," it appears on her upcoming debut album, "When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go?", which Billie revealed is basically what happens when you fall asleep. For me, every song in the album, there's sleep paralysis. There's night terrors, nightmares, lucid dreams. Now, given the title of "Wish You Were Gay," it's not surprising that it's prompted many questions from fans across the globe. Well, it was revealed that the song is actually about Billie being rejected by a boy, and then wishing that they were gay to make the rejection feel less harsh. She explained, "I wrote this song about a guy that was really not interested in me, and it made me feel horrible. So the song is called Wish You Were Gay." Now, the song's chorus includes the lyrics, "To spare my pride, to give your lack of interest an explanation. I'm not your type, maybe I'm not your preferred gender orientation." Now, she went on to clarify the reason behind her lyrics, saying, "And that's not meant harsh to be offensive in any way. It doesn't mean that I wish he was like, it literally means I wish he was gay so that he didn't like me for an actual reason, instead of the fact that he didn't like me." Well, it actually turns out that the boy Billie's talking about did come out as gay. Yep, she revealed, "Guess what? He just came out to me like a couple of weeks ago. I'm proud, bro. Except not really though, because I was really into him, like so into him. He's so hot, oh my god, he's so attractive." Now, the finished version of "Wish You Were Gay" was released March 4th, and her debut album, "When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go?", is due out on March 29th. Now, Billie also posted that for the first 48 hours that the track is out, a portion of the proceeds will benefit the Trevor Project. Now, the Trevor Project is an organisation that focuses on suicide prevention in LGBT and youth. Now, despite this, many people out there aren't happy with the song title and lyrics, with some people going as far as to call it homophobic. Yep, this person shared a video with the caption, "Me after cancelling my Billie Eilish tickets after this mess of a homophobic song." Another fan sarcastically wrote, "Billie Eilish named a song Wish You Were Gay and thought it was a good choice." Here's another fan that hasn't taken her song well. "Billie Eilish is a dumb." Her new song, "Wish You Were Gay," is about her being rejected by a boy and then wishing that he was gay to make the rejection feel less harsh. And people are calling her a gay icon. I'm gonna scream. And this person was also super mad at Billie. Billie Eilish, Wish You Were Gay, using gay men as your props for songs. I'm just so mad. Yet clearly there are a lot of angry people out there, but other fans out there have Billie's back, reminding people of what Billie had to say about the song. Yep, this fan quoted Billie, simply writing, "This song isn't supposed to be offensive in any way. It literally means I wish he was gay, so he didn't like me for that reason. Billie Eilish." Well, what are your thoughts on Wish You Were Gay? Let us know in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to The Talker, guys. We'll catch you next time.
Billie Eilish rose to fame faster than you can say teen star, but the quick rise to fame was short-lived and quickly backfired. The praised, norm-bending singer-songwriter may not be as respected as she should be for her unique style and aesthetic. Billie has been touted as controversial in the pop world because she challenges all that is conventional and safe in the industry. Why the gal had to stand her ground to finally be accepted in the music industry. Now, the young talented lady is getting the recognition she deserves, and let's be honest, it's well earned. trend. Billie has challenged all that pop is. She's ahead of the curve, and it's just taken the pop industry a while to catch up. Watch this video as we dive into Billie's unconventional pop star ways and why she wasn't respected in the music industry for so long. By now, most people know the story of how the young singer Billie Eilish rose to fame practically overnight. But surprisingly, the young star never actually got the recognition she deserved until recently. That's right, for years Billie was underrated in the pop industry because she was so different from the rest of the typical pop stars. She challenged the style of pop. Even her songwriting took different routes than personal undertones or repetitive sexy choruses. Instead, Billie explored all sorts of characters and stories in her songs. Her most recently released single, called When I Was Older, was actually inspired by a Netflix film. Roma, a Netflix film directed by Alfonso Cuarón, won 2 Golden Globes and was nominated for 10 Academy Awards in 2019. Regardless of the film's popularity, Billie was inspired before all the crazy accolades were pouring in for the film. Billie posted on her Instagram a photo of the movie poster, explaining that the poster itself was the inspiration for her song When I Was Older. When I Was Older follows from her 2018 song When the Party's Over. The cool thing about this is that Billie seems to be at the forefront of bringing that old school 1990s thing back. You know, when it was cool to make music inspired by a film. Now, thanks to Roma's director Alfonso and Billie, the fad is back. Kendrick Lamar also produced Black Panther the album, music from and inspired by. Another example of an artist bringing this type of music back to the mainstream. So, how did this all go down? Alfonso Cuarón, the director of Roma, announced that they would be doing a companion album for the film, and of course Billie was one of them and was one of the first singles released. Other artists on the album are music legends like Patti Smith and Beck. Billie and her brother Phineas collaborated on writing the song. The album is not the original music from the film, however, but instead it is an album solely dedicated to music that was inspired by the film. By doing this, Billie proves that she is at the forefront of the music industry and is bringing old trends back again. In 2018, Billie, who loves to work with visuals in her music, came out with a music video for the Roma-inspired song's counterpart entitled When the Party's Over. In true Billie fashion, the video is incredibly creepy. No tarantula is crawling out of her mouth this time, but instead blue juice is oozing out of her eyes. So the girl's got a vibe, right? With a creepy aesthetic, baggy clothes, and a no BS personality, the girl is not your average pop star. Oh no, she's far from it. This controversial image is exactly why it was so hard for Billie to be respected as a true artist in the pop music industry. In 2019, however, that all began to change. Let's be honest, the girl's ahead of her time, and it's just taking conventional music industry standards some time to catch up with her out-of-the-box ways. When the Party's Over isn't the only song where Billie has drawn inspiration from another art medium. Billie told Harper's Bazaar that ever since she started writing music at the age of 11, she would take inspiration from things she loves, like, say, The Walking Dead. Fingers crossed, the first song she ever wrote was about the zombie apocalypse, thanks to one of her favorite TV shows at the time. This method of writing songs is way outside the box of what pop stars normally do, or at least what they admit to being inspired by. Mostly, we hear people drawing from personal experiences for inspiration. Adele wrote an entire album 21 about her harsh breakup and went on to win Album of the Year at the Grammys. Ariana Grande's massive hit song Thank You Next was a homage to all of her exes. And Taylor Swift is notorious for saying everything but an ex's name in her music. Basically, Billie is breaking the rules when it comes to finding inspiration for songwriting, and we love it. For example, Bellyache was about a made-up fictional character who is a psychopath. She told Noisy magazine that Bellyache is about the concept of guilt when you do things in the moment because you feel so strongly about them. In the end, you're left with the decision you made. She explains that she and her brother Phineas like to make up fictitious people or become someone else when writing music because it helps them to write music that has never been done before. Well, Billie, you're definitely doing that. Perhaps it is her unconventional songwriting that has made her extremely popular with fans, but has also kept her from true industry respect these past few years. One thing is for sure, her songwriting techniques seem to be working when it comes to making hits. Ocean Eyes, the song that she wrote with her brother, was her first hit. That was the song that put her on the map. Later came Lovely, a collaboration with Khalid that garnered her even more fame, and then a slew of other songs soon followed. Billie does admit that it was quite easy to get many of her first tracks down, as they were already written from before she was famous. Growing up, her brother and her would write music together, as well as post covers of their favorite songs online. Ocean Eyes was so different, it caught the attention of many, but her personal style still had not bled out into the wider popverse. She was quickly becoming the cool teen musical star, but was she really respected as such? Her controversial dialogue with many publications only brought her more into the limelight, but not for her music. She was the Jennifer Lawrence of music, but a darker version. Yes, she was praised for her unique style and vibe, but the acknowledgement beyond her die-hard fans hadn't hit home yet. Her outspoken nature was what caused her to be called intimidating and dark. But those are the exact things that make Billie so attractive, not only as an artist, but as a product in and of herself. In an interview with NME, Billie says that the world is ending, and I honestly don't understand the law that says you have to be older to vote, because they're going to die soon and we'll have to deal with it. But to see young people taking part in peaceful protest and not obeying is beautiful. To the same publication, Billie admitted her feelings about the industry, saying, "This industry is effing horrible, but if I wasn't doing this, I would probably be miserable because this is always what I've wanted." At the end of 2018, NBC asked Billie to record a happy-go-lucky New Year's message that they could play as a part of their coverage. Of course, after several takes of not nailing the peppiness NBC asked for, she threw up the middle finger for the camera. Her mom told her they needed a beat so they could edit it. She replied by saying that that was her beat. Funny thing is, Billie pulls the rebellious attitude off so well that it's endearing. You can't help but laugh along with her and root for her as the underdog. Regardless of her endearing rebellious qualities, Billie's inability to garner widespread acceptance goes beyond her music and appearance. The young woman is known as someone who never smiles, and her personal fashion is quite different from the normal scantily clad, skin-bearing women we often see in pop culture. Instead, Billie is actually doing the opposite, wearing oversized clothes and bearing next to no skin. She was even referred to as looking like a kid hiding a teen pregnancy from her parents by Pop Dust. Speaking of Pop Dust, they did have some pretty interesting things to say about Billie, referring to her as a better product than an artist. Now, we all know this isn't true, and so do they, but what Pop Dust is discussing is that even though record labels often don't and can't afford to take risks on new artists, they did with Billie. Often artists are seen as products, something they can sell. Interscope Records signed Billie, and it was most likely in their contract when she signed that she maintains a certain amount, if not most, of the creative control over not only her music but also her personal appearance and public image. Billie didn't all of a sudden change when she came into the limelight and signed with Interscope. Nope, she remained the true blue teenager we got on that 2015 Ocean Eyes track. With her dark music videos, provocative lyrics, and no cleavage in sight, Billie is bringing in a new wave of pop artists and most definitely influencing generations to come. Others argue that her creepy aesthetic and oversized clothes were all settled as a part of her image in a boardroom with the record label, but with 2019 starting off as it has for her, we're not exactly sure that's true. Since ringing in the new year, Billie has released a hit track with a music video on January 8, 2019. The track is When I'm Older, which we spoke about earlier, the song inspired by the film Roma. Only 3 short days after its release, the music video had nearly 5 million views. In 2018, her One by One tour sold out in a matter of minutes, and her EP had over 1 billion streams. Most notably, in 2019, she was on NME's 100 Essential New Artists for 2019, finally getting some recognition by the industry she works in. The face of pop is changing, but more importantly, it's finally respecting her and no longer casting her aside, calling her young and crazy. It took years for the industry to adjust to Billie, but better late than never, right? And it's not just the music industry that has finally caught on. All over Brooklyn, LA, and probably across the world, kids are dressing like Billie, listening to her music, and seeing her concerts. She is bringing a new truth to the pop scene. Apart from her influence on the general public, Billie has some pretty high-up contacts in her phone book. She's now got the likes of Tyler the Creator, one of her favorite artists, and Miguel down as contacts now. But she has no interest in calling them up for a collab, as so many artists do, especially young budding musicians. Collaborations have become a great way for artists to get more of their music heard and to continue climbing the ranks to the top. We mean, if you make a song with Justin Bieber, you gotta be at the top of pop, right? Well, Billie once again doesn't see things that way. She wants to make her own music, which she does in the same studio that Ocean Eyes was made with her brother Phineas. Billie doesn't want to share her music or show it to people before it's ready, and right now she doesn't want to collaborate with any of her famous friends. Yet another reason why we love her. Some might see that as a risk or just plain weird to not use your connections, but Billie knows the music she wants to create and she doesn't need others' permissions or acceptance. In fact, she admits to like being judged, so it's no wonder she does things to provoke questions and judgments. She enjoys it, which makes her perfectly imperfect. The genre of music Billie is creating may not fit into any box, just like Billie herself, and like anything new, at first people are wary. What will she do? But over the 3 years that Billie has been in the spotlight, she has proven that she will make cool videos, epic songs, and not care what anyone thinks of her. We have to say the gal is inspiring. surprising. Perhaps the lack of respect she received from her own industry was because she was so young, or perhaps it's that she appeared as a threat to a cookie-cutter industry. But whatever the reason was, the bigwig people are finally catching up. Billie brings the question to light: what happens to pop when a young, rebellious, no BSer starts creating creepy, eerie ballad tracks that sweep the nation? Well, we're seeing it unfold right now. Billie Eilish is proving the pop industry is in need for a major update, and she's gonna be the gal to do it. It's no secret that the moment Billie Eilish stepped on the scene, she started shaking things up. Despite her young age, she has more than a few hit songs under her belt. Her unique and approachable style and her eclectic musical stylings have earned her thousands of fans. But today, we're going to take you inside the Billie Eilish experience and show you the interesting way she approaches music. For Billie, her songs are about much more than just the music. They're an entire multi-sensory experience. Find out what sets this star apart from the rest. Some people might think you need to secure a record deal or at least some space in a recording studio in order to create music, but Billie Eilish isn't one of them. To this star, the only thing you need in order to create is yourself. She wrote her hit song Ocean Eyes sitting in her brother's room one evening. Billie also recalls coming up with lyrics while sitting in her own driveway or anywhere she happens to be. The first step is just getting started, and for that, you don't need anything but commitment. Now it's time for her debut album, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go? Well, apparently she's not into simplicity. This is much more than your average album release. Billie has teamed up with music streaming service Spotify in order to treat her fans to something truly unique. Forget just listening to her music through your Bluetooth speakers. This is going to be a full-on immersive experience. Billie and Spotify have collaborated on an exhibit consisting of 14 separate rooms, each one dedicated to a specific track on the album. Looking to get the full When We Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go experience? You'll have to travel to the stalls at Skylight Row in downtown Los Angeles. Each room is designed to heighten your senses and pair perfectly with its associated song. And of course, to get the full effect, you'll want to get a tour from Billie herself. To kick off the experience, Billie dressed head to toe in Louis Vuitton to play tour guide for a select group of fans. The rooms contained all sorts of exciting aspects, including toy race cars and even adorable foster puppies. Don't worry, no adorable pooches were harmed in the making of this exhibit. In fact, they were all up for adoption. Usually, when we think of exhibits, we think of quietly observing them. But Billie Eilish set up something different for this experience. Each of these rooms is meant to stimulate all of your senses. In addition to the visuals, you can experience different smells, textures, temperatures, and more. Not only does this give you some additional insight into the songs on her album, but into her creative process as well. Billie Eilish claims to experience a perceptual phenomenon known as synesthesia. People who experience this usually aren't aware that the way they interpret the world is different from other people. These synesthetes find that stimulating one sensory or cognitive pathway causes them to automatically experience a second sensory or cognitive pathway. For example, a person with synesthesia could hear a song and automatically associate the sound with patterns of color. If you've never heard of synesthesia before, don't fret. It's incredibly rare, occurring in only 3 to 5% of the population. It tends to run in families, and there are many different ways it can manifest. The most common variety is grapheme color synesthesia. This means people associate individual letters and numbers with specific colors and patterns. Other people will associate textures with sounds, smells with shapes, or shapes with flavors. Although more research is needed, some believe those with synesthesia have advantages when it comes to remembering things. They don't have to come up with creative mnemonic devices like the rest of us. Their brains do so automatically. With all of this in mind, it's hardly surprising that synesthetes tend to be drawn to activities which help them express their creativity. And expressing herself was definitely Billie's goal when it came to this exhibit. The singer stated, "I wanted to take my synesthesia and give it to the world and show everybody what it feels like." For Billie, hearing music isn't just about listening to sounds. Songs evoke powerful sensations and images to Billie, and that's what her exhibit was meant to reflect. Although this exhibit is an over-the-top experience, there are many more examples of Billie's synesthesia in her lyrics. The rest of us tend to use basic metaphors in our speech that everyone can relate to. For example, you might say that something is as cold as ice. However, people with synesthesia associate different things with one another, which create interesting metaphors and similes. In the song 6 Feet Under, Billie sings, "But you're cold as a knife." That may seem like an odd line to most of us, but to Billie, the connection makes perfect sense. She also sings "Can't Stop Thinking of Your Diamond Mind" in Ocean Eyes. In My Boy, Billie sings "My boy loves his friends like I love my split ends," and by that I mean he cuts them off. Billie has even referenced writing a song that sounds like Velvet. Interestingly enough, even though many of us wouldn't think of these metaphors on our own, we can still understand what Billie is saying. Her fans connect with her music on a deep level, which is one reason her songs are so popular. Although her mind might work differently, Billie is still able to express herself in a way which resonates with her fans. Billie Eilish isn't the only musician to have brought her creative process to life in this way. Pop star Ariana Grande has put together her own experience based on her album Sweetener. Spotify also stepped up to make her dreams come true by putting together Sweetener: The Experience. Her interactive exhibit launched on New York's Lower East Side for an action-packed experience reserved for lucky fans. Each and every one of her tracks on Sweetener was turned into a multi-sensory room for fans to experience. Fans could free their minds and meditate under an illuminating cascade of angel tears near a mystical floating altar. These exhibits from artists like Billie Eilish and Ariana Grande may seem revolutionary, but it seems as though this is the direction music is heading in. Artists are collaborating with companies in order to provide fans with new and innovative ways to experience their music. Google Play was part of a collaboration with Queen and Enosis VR to create a groundbreaking virtual reality app. It's available for both Android and iOS, though you'll need to pair it with Google Cardboard. It's a totally immersive 360-degree experience featuring surround sound and interactive elements. The Bohemian Rhapsody experience takes fans on a journey full of surreal images intended to coincide with Bohemian Rhapsody. Just by turning your head, you can affect the way you hear the music and the images you see. Musicians often have a very clear vision in mind when creating their songs. Virtual reality and these real-life exhibitions allow them to more closely control how fans interpret their music. Never mind trying to analyze the lyrics, now fans can see what musicians were picturing when they came up with their songs. While these exhibits by stars like Billie Eilish and Ariana Grande are incredible, there is one major problem, and that's accessibility. As you've probably guessed, these events sold out pretty much immediately. They're only open for limited periods of time, and only a tiny percentage of fans will be able to see them. However, technology could soon take care of this issue as affordable virtual reality headsets become available. Dylan Southard is the creative director at VR Playhouse, and he believes the VR experience will be the future of how we experience music. Instead of viewing a concert on a flat screen, users can watch something in full 360 degrees. According to Dylan, you're most present, and so things are more heightened. It can be emotionally intense. You can feel as if you're right inside the story. And consider how many stars are coming up with more creative ways to tell their stories. Just look at Beyoncé's Lemonade or Frank Ocean's Endless visual album. These are things fans really respond to, and the incorporation of visual images with song lyrics bodes well for the future of visual music. This format is truly only limited by how accessible it can be made for the general public, and it's in this emerging medium that stars like Billie Eilish will likely prosper. She's described herself as a visual artist in the past. Because of her synesthesia, she automatically imagines smells, colors, and images when she's singing. These visual elements are important to her creative process, and she's working on new ways to share them with fans. While some of us struggle to find inspiration in our daily lives, this isn't something Billie has to worry about. Almost everything she sees inspires her to create music to capture the sensation she feels at the moment. Some examples from Billie are things as simple as seeing the color green or uniquely textured wallpaper. So she'll sit down and try to create a melody which captures the texture the pattern feels when she runs her hands over it. It's safe to say many people can't truly relate to these kinds of associations, but Billie experiences them almost constantly. They're reflected in her lyrics, her music videos, and the Billie Eilish experience. experience. And someday soon, they may be something us fans can experience thanks to developing technology becoming more and more accessible. Connecting with her audience is incredibly important to Billie, and we don't just mean emotionally. This star literally likes to reach out and touch her fans whenever she performs. She's been known to reach over barricades and leap off stages in order to share physical moments with her fans. Billie believes physicality is so important, and that something as simple as touch means so much more than 1,000 likes on Instagram. Although some stars act as though they're too busy for their fans, Billie wants to become more accessible. She claims she wants to hang out with her fans as much as she possibly can. Not only is creating music a sensory process for her, so is performing it and celebrating her achievements with her fans. In fact, Billie claims one of the drawbacks of being famous is not being able to blend in with people, just to enjoy experiencing music. She confesses her days of blending into mosh pits are over since she can't do so without being recognized. We love to listen to music, but for people like Billie Eilish, it's a full sensory experience. Someday, these full-on sensory experiences could be the norm, and the traditional albums and concerts we have now could be a thing of the past.
She's the young artist that's on the tip of everyone's tongue, Billie Eilish. Sure, she's slowly becoming a household name, but she isn't an industry newcomer. In fact, she was raised by parents who were in the entertainment business. That's why it's a little shocking that this ethereal-voiced teen chooses to dress the way she does. Not sure what we're talking about? Don't worry, we'll fill you in. Stay tuned to see who has not only influenced Billie's music, but also her fashion choices. You might be a little surprised, so don't miss it. If you've never heard of Billie Eilish, you might be living under a rock. She's made quite an impact on the music industry in a very short amount of time. She has a unique sound and an unprecedented rise to fame. She was only 14 years old when she uploaded her song Ocean Eyes to SoundCloud. She had no idea that this would change her and her family's lives forever. After uploading the now infamous song to SoundCloud, it literally blew up. The singer claims a popular friend of hers shared it to their feed, and after that, it got thousands of replays overnight. The rest has been pretty much history since then. She and her music-making partner, who happens to be her brother, have shown no signs of slowing down. One of the many reasons behind Billie dressing like a boy has to do with her growing up with one. She's super close to her older brother, Phineas, and most likely looked up to him as a young girl, so this could have caused her to dress like him or develop a fond appreciation for the opposite gender's wardrobe. It took no time to get the brother-sister duo signed to a label, and soon after, they started releasing more EPs. The fact that they lived together probably helped to churn out the hits pretty quickly. By 2017, they were making a considerable name for themselves in the indie music scene. Billie's song Bored even got featured in 13 Reasons Why. While the show itself was a household name, Billie was still an up-and-coming artist. That was until 2018, when the singer and her brother virtually blew up. They already had a certified gold EP under their belts, and then they dropped You Should See Me in a Crown and When the Party's Over. The singles were pretty much mic drops on the music industry. The brother and sister duo have cemented their place in the industry, but there has been one thing that people can't get over. Because she's a famous pop star in 2019, people have paid close attention to Billie Eilish, and they can't help but notice she's a little bit different. Not that that's a bad thing. Considering she comes from a family of artists, this could be one of the reasons why she's so free with her unique style. Growing up, she was homeschooled as well. This relieved the pressure of having to fit in at school. Many people probably already know what it's like growing up and being picked on for their fashion choices. This was something Billie didn't experience until she was already famous. That's why ever since she broke onto the scene back in 2016, Billie Eilish has challenged the music industry. Whether it's her sound, her age, or what it means to be a pop star in 2019, it seems like Billie has broken the mold. And the thing is, she loves the fact that she isn't like other people. That's why when you see her and the way she dresses, it makes total sense. The first time you hear a Billie Eilish song, you probably have an idea of what the singer looks like. Then, when you actually see her in her head-to-toe baggy outfits, it probably throws you off, right? While it wasn't her intention to throw anyone off, the singer definitely wants to make an impression with her wardrobe. There is something about about Billie that really wants attention, and she has admitted that much. That being said, she doesn't dress the way she does strictly to cause a scene. It's all about comfort when it comes to Billie's style. And what is cozier than baggy clothes? She comes from a world that tells her that she has to wear tight clothes, makeup, or get surgery to be pretty. And Billie is having none of it. No one can tell her what to do, especially when it comes to her style. But why exactly does Billie Eilish decide to dress like a dude? Well, it's pretty simple, because she wants to. But there is a method to her madness. If you ask the singer herself, she would tell you that she loves fashion. It's a way for her to express herself. Being the artist that she is, she sees her fashion choices as a form of art as well. She also claims that she doesn't like when people comment about what she looks like, but she contradicts herself because she also claims that she loves when people judge her, and that they do. The singer has had to step away from her social media because of the negativity. It's hard to remember, Billie is still a teenager, so the comments she receives on social media can be very hurtful. People are pretty cruel, and this is especially true if you go against the norm. The thing is, though, she doesn't exactly want people saying bad things about her. She loves that anyone is talking about her at all. That could be one of the reasons why she loves to dress in refreshingly strange clothes. If you take a look at some of her fashion choices over the years, you'll see a pattern of baggy shirts, sweaters, shorts, and pants. She loves this look, and it's the complete opposite vibe from the music the singer produces. Many people claim that Billie's personal style reflects more of a hip-hop vibe, and if you know her music, it sounds nothing like the genre. Fans of the singer will also know that Billie is a huge rap fan, which could be another reason why she gravitates toward dressing like a rap star. She's even said in the past that her fashion and career icon is Tyler, the Creator. So let's take a look at their styles and stack them up against one another. As you can see, both of the artists have a unique style, but you can also see where Billie is channeling her inner Tyler. They both use color and patterns to tell a story with their style. Tyler seems to gravitate to more tailored pieces, whereas Billie likes a more relaxed fit in her clothing. While some of their get-ups look thrown together, we can assure you these looks were very calculated. That being said, it's still a little strange that a girl is getting her fashion influence from a guy. Well, according to trolls on social media, they think Billie should dress like a girl. But what does that even mean? In an interview, she spoke about what it's like to be a teenager in 2019. Thanks to apps like Snapchat and Instagram, she's had certain images thrown at her since she was a tween. But Billie is trying to challenge this standard. According to the singer, she noticed that everyone around her was starting to look the same. This is her personal nightmare. We still would like to know why it's such a big deal. Why can't she dress like a boy? The singer said it best herself, quote, "If I was a guy and wearing these clothes, no one would bat an eye." And we can't help but agree. There seems to be a certain sexism in the music industry, and in the world for that matter. Apparently, girls who wish to be pop artists have to look a certain way. That's why someone like Billie is so essential. We love the fact that she is shaking up what it means to be a pop star. But some people just aren't buying it. As we've said before, Billie is a massive fan of rap, and we've seen how it influences her fashion choices. But the problem is, at what point does her style cross the line of cultural appropriation? Her moody indie-style music is entirely different than her actual image, which is rubbing some people the wrong way. Considering she's a teenage white girl from Los Angeles, it's hard for critics to get behind the hip-hop vibes she gives off. From her saggy pants to her love of wearing bandanas on her face, many have accused the young artist of appropriating Black culture. What do you think? Can fashion be a way of appropriating culture? The jury is still out on this one. Regardless of whether you like her style or not, Billie Eilish is genuinely one of a kind. And for those of you wanting to steal her style, good luck. We really meant it when we said she was one of a kind. You'll be hard-pressed to find any of her looks in your typical mall scene. That's because the singer likes to shop at thrift stores. One of her main rules when shopping for her one-of-a-kind wardrobe is that size doesn't matter. If she likes something, she doesn't even look at the price tag or the size tag. Billie doesn't even try stuff on. If she likes it, she buys it. This could be another reason why all her clothes end up looking like they don't fit. It would help if she actually actually tried on her clothes before she bought them, but she can't be bothered. She also has a thing for making her own clothes. She's admitted to cutting her clothes up and sewing them back together into something that's truly unique. She's even claimed to have cut up her sneakers to make them into something completely different. According to the singer, she fancies herself a visual artist above everything else. This is why she takes her look so seriously. It may not seem like she cares about what she looks like, but this is a huge misconception. Being a visual artist means she is in complete control of how she appears to the world. Right now, her image is the "I don't care what you think" look. But Billie Eilish does in fact care. She wants to be a walking expression of herself and her art, and that's exactly what she's doing. All this being said, we can't help but wonder how much of her look has to do with her teenage angst. She's still in her teens, and if you're out of your teen years, you probably blush at some of the fashion choices you made back in the day. Will Billie look back on this time in her life with the same sentiments? Considering how quickly her career is growing, will her sense of style change too? This is something that's completely natural. People change as they get older, and we can't help but think that Billie will evolve as well. Speaking of Billie's evolution, 2019 is going to be a massive year for the singer. The singer and her brother are slated to release their second studio album at the end of March. We can't wait to hear what they've been up to, and if we know anything about this artist, it's that it's going to be anything but ordinary. That's it for this video. What do you think about Billie Eilish and her style? Can girls pull off styles that society thinks are for boys only? Sound off in the comment section below. While you're at it, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to The Taco.